Tri means 3 and quad means 4. So why do we call tricycles trikes and quad cycles quads? Kind of missed out on the whole cycle bit at the end there. It's a little confusing. But you know what isn't confusing is understanding the practical differences between trikes and quads. I mean, it's easy to tell the physical differences, it's even in the name. But there's a lot that lies beneath the skin when it comes to both 3 and 4-wheelers and what they bring to the table. So let's try to understand what makes them both unique in their own way and which one might be right for you in your riding style. Since 2020, when we moved into our new building, our quad production has been in full swing. We've been manufacturing our own quads with our Revolution E-Quad and the off-road wheelchairs and kid-sized quads that we make with Not a Wheelchair. With such a big operation on these 4-wheeled cycles, they've gotten more and more popular every year. There can be a lot of appeal for a quad over a trike, especially for its more familiar look. These quads usually resemble simpler ATVs, especially if you're looking at the more off-road oriented versions. But once you take a look at standard quads like the Cat 4 or the Eco Quad that are just customized trikes to have 2 rear wheels, it may be a little confusing why someone would want to upgrade to something like that over a trike, especially because it costs more to go from 3 to 4 wheels. There are actually some really good perks that come with the 4-wheel upgrade that you don't get on a trike. One of the biggest being increased stability and safety. When you add another wheel in the rear, it creates a wider platform that you're riding on, and due to the design of the conversion, it pushes the wheel out farther and gives you a longer wheelbase. It's able to disperse your weight more evenly across all 4 wheels, so you're less likely to fall off or tip over. And combining all of this with the low center of gravity that is found on a quad, it creates an even more stable and safe ride, especially on uneven terrain or during sharp turns. Because a tadpole trike is already so stable and hard to tip over, it's even more impressive that a quad can be even better than that. So for somebody who wants maximum safety, a quad can be a no-brainer. Because of that extra wheel and wider base of your trike, this also increases the overall weight capacity of a quad over a trike. Take, for example, the Eco Tad compared to the Eco Quad. They both share the same frame. The Eco Quad just has the Sunseeker rear quad conversion axle installed. The Eco Tad has a weight capacity of 300 pounds for the rider and 75 pounds in cargo weight, giving the Eco Tad a total weight capacity of 375 pounds. This is pretty high for the average trike. Most can only hold up to 200 to 250 pounds. But when we upgrade to the Eco Quad, the weight capacity increases to 350 pounds for the rider and 100 pounds of cargo. That's a 75-pound weight capacity increase to 450 pounds. This makes a quad a great option for bigger riders who need a more resilient cycle, or just carrying a lot of cargo, like on camping trips or grocery store runs. And that leads to another perk of having a quad, which is you have a lot more room to store cargo. On a trike, to really carry anything, you need to get some side bags or a rear rack, but as you can see, a rear rack just fits over the top of the back wheel and is pretty small, only letting you fit so much on a platform of this size. But when you widen the rear for a quad, you have a lot more space in the back for a larger rack. A standard trike rack is about 5 to 6 inches wide, but on a quad upgrade, the rack is about 23 inches wide, enough to take up almost the whole rear area of the quad. So instead of a small market basket, you can carry big buckets or multiple different things attached to the rear, as well as the capacity to hold up to 6 batteries if your quad is motorized. Another perk that 4-wheels brings is enhanced off-road capability on a quad. The extra stability of 4 wheels makes off-roading safer, so you're less likely to tip over on uneven terrain. They give you more contact points with the ground so you can have more traction and can navigate loose gravel or dirt much easier. A common issue with off-road trikes is that the increased amount of weight on the rear wheel makes it much easier to get stuck in loose terrain like gravel or mud. When the weight of your trike is dispersed across 2 rear wheels, you're much less likely to get stuck in terrains like this. One thing to keep in mind is that our quad conversions don't have any suspension. When you reconstruct the frame of a trike in that way, the suspension isn't able to work as intended. So, if you want a smaller vehicle than a 4-wheeler or a side-by-side for off-road adventures, a good option would be our specifically suspension-oriented quads like our Revolution E-Quad line or the Not a Wheelchair. A quad is great for the rugged rider who's getting out on off-road trails, needing extra stability with more surface area and more space to store their belongings. Even though they are great for off-roading, quads are also just as good as a road vehicle that is more visible and has more stability for extra safety. But with all the quad's pros, trikes come with just as many, catering to the type of ride that they're best suited for. For instance, on a quad, you have a much wider wheelbase and more width in the rear to maneuver with. With a trike's single wheel in the rear and minimal surface area, this gives them a much better turning radius than a quad. Trikes typically have a tighter turning radius, making them easier to maneuver in tight spaces. This maneuverability makes them much more agile as well. Trikes specialize in urban environments and can make quick turns and maneuver through tight spaces much easier than quads can. If you ever need to get out and push your vehicle, it's much easier to do on a trike. You can walk behind it much easier, and it's lighter, so you can maneuver it as you push. And along those lines, that also makes trikes easier to transport and store. You can lift them easier into the back of a truck or into an elevated storage space, but they can still be a bit tricky to find the right handhold for because of their awkward shape compared to a quad. The lighter weight also lends itself to the speed and distance of your rides. There's less weight dragging you down, so it's easier to pedal and move yourself along. And with the more aerodynamic triangle shape of a quad, there's less wind drag, making it easier to pedal and go faster as well. All these factors are why trikes excel at commuter and touring styles of rides. If your budget is an issue, trikes are usually the more affordable option out of the two, and they have fewer components with a simpler design than quads, so standard maintenance is usually cheaper as well. And lastly, trikes are just more common than quads, offering a wider range of models and customization options to suit various needs and preferences. There are a lot more trikes, and these different models all cater to different types of rides and rider abilities. So, you're able to find a lot more trikes for your preferences than you may be able to for a quad. Now that we've talked about each type of cycle and all of their strengths, it's a good idea to talk about what types of ride you'll be doing and other factors that would determine your purchase. Both of these have very unique builds and applications, so let's go through what you should keep in mind while deciding which would be right for you. If you're going to be commuting long distances or primarily doing urban riding, a trike would be the best fit for you. Trikes are better fit for long distance riding with many different models to match your speed and style, while also being lighter and more aerodynamic, lending themselves well to longer speeds and traversing urban environments. If your rides will consist of rural riding and exploring off-road terrains, a quad may be the best option for you. Most quads are built for or easily upgraded to be the best off-roading cycles around. With extra stability and even more traction, you're able to get anywhere you need to. And with the higher load capacity that the extra wheel gives, you can carry much more cargo, making quads amazing for camping or a run to the grocery store. Some physical limitations may have a better solution depending on which option you go for. Say, for instance, if you have balance issues and need a platform that is super stable and secure, a quad will most likely be a better option. Tadpole-style trikes are well balanced and stable as well, making them a good option too. But the next step up in stability has got to go to the quad. With their increased stability, they work super well for people without use of their legs. It's difficult to make a trike that is as supportive as a wheelchair and has the full capabilities to take you off-road. There are some hand-powered trike options like the HG3 and the HP Hand Cycle, but nothing has off-roading down like the Not a Wheelchair Rig or the Revolution E-Quad. These are both amazing off-roading quad options built with suspension and comfort in mind, both being fully accessible to riders without the use of their legs. If you need more comfort in your ride, both of these options do a great job of providing a smooth ride depending on the setup. Usually the most comfort comes from suspension or big tires to soak up any bumps or vibrations. Both trikes and quads have options with these quality of life features, but trikes do have a wider variety of suspension options. So when looking for a trike or a quad, keep an eye out for the type of comfort that will best suit you. Price is important too. If you're looking for a low budget option, trikes are always going to be the way to go. They're simpler to construct and have less complicated components compared to quads. Not to mention that our cheapest quad options are upgrades to trikes that we carry, so it's inevitable that they'll be a bit pricier. So consider your budget for the initial purchase. Trikes tend to be more affordable, while quads can offer additional features and benefits but at a higher cost. And lastly, it's something that a lot of people forget to think about when getting a trike or a quad, and that's portability and space. These are both big cycles, especially compared to a bike, but a quad takes up more space with their wider wheelbase and double-wheeled rear. And with more hardware on the rear, they are much heavier as well. It makes transporting and storing a lot more difficult than a trike, especially when some trikes have a folding hinge that makes all of this even easier. The thing is that both quads and trikes have their unique pros and cons. If you prioritize stability, low capacity, and all-terrain capability, a quad's going to be the better choice. If you value maneuverability, speed, and a lower cost trike is going to be more suitable. Each is great for their own types of riders, so make sure to consider your specific needs, intended use, and budget to make the best decision for your situation. And that's everything you need to know between a trike and a quad. Hopefully this video could help you take a more personal look into each type of cycle from the 3-wheel to the 4-wheel. If you want to see more in-depth options in either category, you can check out our website on utahtrikes.com for more info and take a look at every option that we have. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you don't want to miss out on any trike or quad content, hit the little bell down below to be notified whenever we upload. And with that, remember to relax, spin fast, and ride trikes. See you next time. Man, I cannot read today. I'm illiterate.
Oops.
I never learned how to read. I'm just saying letters.
Bro's winging it.
You know that weird green guy from the Mucinex commercials?
Yeah.
He's attacking me right now.
Living inside of your throat right now.
A quad is great. Great. A quad is great for the rugged rider.
The quad is great.
Quad is great.
Whittlewood.
Quads are great.
Whittlewood. Too many things are going wrong.
Yes! We did it.
We did it.
They brought in the B team this week.
B team.
Davey cut his hand pretty good.
I did. Owie.